Do you want to know how we can save humanity? Not as an utopian idea, but in pure practice? Well, then this video is for you. Now, if we want to know the answer how we can save humanity, we first have to ask ourselves what humanity needs to be saved from. Now, let's do an exercise together. And actually participating with the exercise will give you a far deeper insight than only listening. Now, please take a piece of paper and pencil, and you might be surprised what will happen. Now, if you think about from what shadows you want humanity to be saved from, what would that be? For example, saved from disharmony, or saved from the passive or active violence, or saved from the over or under consumption, or saved from all diseases, or saved from murderers, suppressors, etc., etc., etc. Now you can pause the video now and make your own list and then come back. What do you want humanity to be saved from? Did you make your list? Now think about a shadow item that you have written down. If, for example, you want to save humanity from murderers, from mass murderers, or from suppressors. And now the most difficult part becomes to become radical honest with ourselves, to tell ourselves the truth. And ask ourselves if someone would push our buttons, like for example hurt our child or loved one, would we ourselves be capable of murder or suppression too? Because only from recognizing the truth that if we would experience deep inner shadow, we too could be capable of doing such a thing. Only from recognizing the truth that if we would experience deep inner shadow ourselves, we too could be capable of doing such a thing. And from understanding we all are the same in that way, might be the key to transforming the world or transforming humanity. Being radical honest with ourselves is actually shining light onto our darkness within we want to save humanity from. Now, let's take another example. Imagine we want to save humanity from disharmony. Then we can ask ourselves, with radical honesty, where are we still living in disharmony ourselves and why? For example, I used to want to be richer and more muscular than others to compensate for feelings of unworthiness for having been laughed at for having been very skinny. By being willing to see the truth that wearing a successful mask is only a compensation for my own unsolved darkness within, I could start learning to flush out all of my shadows and stop overcompensating. Or let's take another example. We want to save humanity from diseases. Then where are we still living in disease with ourselves too? If, for example, where am I not living aligned with my own healthy physical and mental nature myself either? If, for example, I used to live in dis-ease with myself by trying to over-rationalize for what I couldn't handle emotionally, instead of solving my unsolved issues, which made me live in suppressed dis-ease state, which literally translated into physical life-threatening dis-ease symptoms. Could it be that every shadow part we want humanity to be saved from reflects a shadow part within ourselves, where we can choose to stop to be like that ourselves in any circumstance? Could it be that every shadow part we want humanity to be saved from originates in an overcompensation or an undercompensation from our own unsolved shadows? Could it be that we just follow the shadow of our peers out of fear to be confronted with their own shadows if we would not follow their shadows? Do you know what the key might be to actually transform the world of shadows? Or to actually do transform the world of darkness into light? Well, by shining the light onto our own darkness within. How do we do that? Well, by telling ourselves the truth, by being radical honest with ourselves. I used to cling on one form of a lie or another with the sole purpose to not have to be confronted with my own shadows. And for example, I used to please and obey others, even if they treated me badly, rather than to be confronted with my own shadows. But the only reason why we have shadows in humanity is because we are scared of solving our own shadows within. Running away from our shadows behind a mask of success or a mask of compensations will not make our shadow go away. And pointing at the shadows around us to distract ourselves from our own shadow will not make a shadow go away. And lying to ourselves and blindly following the shadows around us will not make shadow go away. On the contrary, it will only give it more nourishment to grow. Turning our own shadow into light will turn shadow or compensations around us into light or harmony. Simply put, if we want to prevent or stop terrible things from happening again in humanity, like for example blindly following the shadow from an oppressor, we have to stop telling ourselves lies that we don't truly believe in ourselves. We have to stop clinging to our shadow compensations like money, like power, like holidays, like secondary pleasures, like status, etc., which only distract us from the truth. In other words, we have to stop being like that ourselves. Now, when someone jumps into a lake, we don't have to blindly follow. When we solve our own shadows within, we won't feel the need to compensate in lies anymore. We won't feel the need to try to be better or worse than others anymore. We simply stay true to truth. I want you to live in truth. Truth never lies. We only have to be willing to stop lying to ourselves and just listen. To help you break free from all conscious and unconscious shadows within, to change humanity from the very inside out, I've made a PDF checklist you can fill out for your own reference, together with a tool to get you past every symptom of fear. Now click here so I can send it to you. And this way you can feel confident and capable to turn shadow and compensations into light and towards living in independent, liberated, conscious, radical truth and honesty with yourself. Enjoy transforming shadow with truth or light.